So we've used the Pixel 8 Pro for over a month now, and I find it very difficult to recommend for most users. But I know for a fact that most Pixel fans will end up saying that this is the best Android flagship out there. And you know what? I'll try to explain both perspectives by the end of the video, so stay tuned. If you're here for the first time, I'm Ashad. You're watching Trakin Tech English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Starting with the design and the build of the phone, in 1 month, it's held up fairly well. But the most important thing that I want to highlight is that it's a looker, it's a distinctive design, and it definitely stands out. So the Robocop style visor camera module actually can be spotted from anywhere. And if anybody is using a Pixel 6 series, 7 series or 8 series, you can immediately tell that it's a Pixel phone that's in their hand. So the design identity is very distinctive, very unique, very Pixel. But in our long-term usage, what we notice is that the metal on the camera module has scratched up a lot. So you might want to use it with a case if you want to keep the resale value intact. I'll talk about the resale value of Pixel phones as well by the end of the video, but yeah, you'll have to use a case with the phone. Also, I was mentioned this on the Pixel 8, since it has some matte finish, you don't see those scratches immediately, but on the Pixel 8 Pro, it's immediately apparent. And I like the rounded corners that they've done with the Pixel 8 Pro this year around. It's very comfortable to hold. It doesn't feel slippery. Also, it fits absolutely snugly in the palm. You also do get Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 protection on the front and the rear, so that's reassuring for sure. But I'll tell you this, Corning Gorilla Glass Victus or Victus 2 both are very sturdy in the sense that, you know, these are tough glasses that won't easily break if they fall down and if they fall from a fair amount of height. But they do scratch up very easily, so you will also have to use a screen guard with it. An IP68 rating is there on the Pixel 8 Pro. You can take it to up to 1.5 meters of depth for 30 minutes. But most importantly, the Type-C port at the bottom is USB Type-C Gen 3.2, so you can expect really fast transfer speeds from the Pixel 8 Pro's Type-C port, which is a very good thing. But one thing that stand out on the Pixel 8 Pro this year, and Google has done a really good job, is the flat display that you get on the phone. This is a very bright, very crisp, and extremely well color calibrated panel as well. I like the fact that the bezels are slim enough for a modern day flagship phone, and they are actually symmetrical in size as well. This panel has been great for consuming content. We've been watching a lot of Netflix and YouTube, both of which support HDR. Of course, you do not get Dolby Vision support, but HDR videos on this do look very, very good, with the fact that you do get 2400 nits of peak brightness, and you know that's local peak brightness on the phone itself. And even when you take it outdoors, it's extremely bright, absolutely no concerns or no problems anywhere that we noticed and we want to highlight particularly. But one thing that's fantastic on the Pixel 8 Pro, probably the best on any phone, is the haptic feedback. It's so well tuned, just the way it sort of vibrates every time you type, and the way it has been implemented across the operating system and the UI elements. It's very, very well done. Best in the industry by far. Also, part of the display is the optical in-display fingerprint scanner. It's not an ultrasonic one, so it's not very fast to unlock, but it gets the job done, so we're not really complaining. However, what I am happy about is the fact that face unlock can also be used with, you know, payment apps as well. So the level of security has been upgraded now. So this is one of the more secure phones in terms of biometric identification, that's for sure. However, one thing that rounds up the whole experience, the multimedia experience, is also the stereo speaker setup. Now, the stereo speakers on the Pixel 8 Pro are rich, they're loud enough. I mean, in isolation they're okay, but many other flagship phones do offer much better sound quality, so that's where it sort of takes a hit. Why don't you take a listen to the sound quality right next to the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the S23 Ultra and tell me what you guys think. Also, by the way, you do get support for spatial audio, which is a part of Android 14 itself, but you do not get support for Dolby Atmos. Now, for the audiophiles in the house, you do get support for LDAC, but LHDC codec is not supported. And apart from that, if you also use a USB dongle, that works absolutely fine. I use my high-res dongle and it detects it. Earlier, Pixel phones used to only support pass-through dongles, but right now, active dongles also work absolutely fine. Now, let's talk about the Tensor G3, the latest generation of Tensor chip made by Google. Now, I have spoken at length about the chip itself, and I'm not very happy with the performance even after 1 month of use. We expected it to get better over time, but that's not really the case. Now, if you want to see the performance benchmarks, the synthetic benchmarks, and how it performs in gaming as well, we have a dedicated video that we've already put up on the channel, and the experience hasn't changed much, so you should go check that out. But what you can expect from that video is that there are definitely throttling issues and some heating issues as well. Now, in my Pixel 8 review, I had mentioned how the Tensor G3 on the Pixel 8 makes it run warm at all times. Like, it consistently runs warm. Now with the Pixel 8 Pro, while it's not as bad as it is on the Pixel 8 because you've got more surface area and the copper sheet that is there is going to be slightly bigger as well, but still we did feel that it's running warmer than usual. The idle temperature seems to be higher than normal. Now this will not be a concern in Western countries, but in India where it does get really hot, the phone can get warm to the touch. And especially if you're gaming, about 10-15 minutes of BGMI session can actually push the temperature up to 45 degrees. So Google is definitely taking a lot of effort in creating its own line of tensor chips, but I think that Snapdragon and MediaTek with its Dimensity series is actually doing better with flagship chipsets itself. So that's one area where the Google lags behind the competition, that's for sure. However, Tensor G3's AI capabilities are pretty good, and Google does offer a few really cool implementations of AI that works really well on the phone itself. Having said that, Tensor G3 is actually not doing on-device AI. It requires some sort of cloud processing even when you're using the Magic Editor. All is going to change with the next generation of flagship chips like the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and the Dimensity 9300, which will end up doing on-device AI. So the processing will also be faster. However, we need to see how other brands are going to be implementing AI itself. With the Pixel, you do get a lot of cool features. Now with generative AI on the Pixel 8 Pro, you do get generative AI based wallpapers as well. So which basically generates a wallpaper based on prompts. And of course, you've got the Magic Editor feature, which can add focus later, which can change the sky, you can move things around, you can crop people out of the picture, and all of that works really, really well too. So with respect to generative AI features, the Pixel 8 Pro currently is doing one of the best jobs out there. And as for the Pixel experience with Android 14 on the Pixel 8 Pro, it's pretty good. It's a very clean setup, absolutely no bloatware, and 7 years of software updates have also been promised. So software experience is actually very good on this. But one thing that we must mention, and it's important to note as well, is the fact that we felt that the Nothing Phone 2 with stock Android, Nothing's version of stock Android, actually is kind of smoother in terms of animations compared to Pixel 8 Pro. I mean, it might be a bit of a stretch, but it does feel that way in our regular usage that we've had. And also on the software, the Pixel exclusive features like it keeps listening to music in the background to show you what's now playing on the lock screen itself is damn nice and very useful as well. Plus, live transcribe works really, really well. It's such a godsend in certain situations. Now, did we face any bugs with the Pixel 8 Pro during our time with it? It's not been too bad, thankfully, but there are a couple of things we wanted to highlight. These were the only few anomalies that we saw. For example, there was a weird bug where we would play Spotify, it would be running in the background, and we wouldn't get the lock screen playback controls. This feature worked fine on the Pixel 7 Pro, but on the Pixel 8 Pro, it's not working well for some odd reason. Also, on a couple of occasions when we took a screenshot, there's a screenshot preview that comes up, right? That didn't show up for us, but a quick restart sort of fixed that. But these are tiny bugs, you can look past it. However, one thing that we felt was really odd in the software implementation itself is that the themed icons are only exclusive to the home screen and they don't really translate to the lock screen, which is kind of weird. It's a themed icon. It should be across the system OS and UI, right? Again, I reiterate, all of these are tiny issues. We still love the software experience, the Pixel experience on the Pixel 8 Pro. This is easily one of the best Android software experiences that you can get. Very premium experience that you can get on an Android flagship today. All right, I know that a lot of folks must be waiting for this specific section, and that is the battery life. Now, here's the thing. We did start testing out the battery life on the Pixel 8 Pro, and initially we were getting about 4 hours of screen on time on the regular. So a lot of Pixel users started telling us that Pixel takes time to learn your usage. We've given it a month, and even after a month we're only getting 4 hours of screen on time regularly on our regular usage. 4 to 5 hours is probably the best you can get. I know that a lot of Pixel users have reported that they're getting 7 hours as well, but we didn't see that in our usage at all. In fact, we have similar usage on phones like the OnePlus 11 or the Nothing Phone 2. They do offer better battery life. Also, if you don't use a PD charger, the charge is going to be really slow. And even if you use a PD charger, the top speeds that you can get is 30 watts. So yeah, that's something that you keep in mind. And apart from that, you do get wireless charging, but the phone does get hot. So keep that in mind as well. So battery life and battery charging, again, we're not very happy with the Pixel 8 Pro. Another concern with Pixel devices is generally the radios inside and the network reception. Has it been good for us? Actually, no. Other flagships do it better. I used the Pixel 8 Pro where I did with an Airtel SIM and a Jio SIM, both of which would generally end up using 4G over 5G for some odd reason. In areas where 5G was available, it would end up using 4G. And I did face a lot of call drops as well, and sometimes the calls wouldn't connect. There were a lot of issues that we faced on Airtel and Jio. In fact, my colleague Trakin used it with Vodafone Idea, and he faced problems as well with the network connectivity. Having said that, when calls do connect, The earpiece and the call quality is very, very good. It's loud, it's crisp. We don't have too much to complain about. But you know what? Here's an interesting thing that my colleague Rohit Arora found out, and he tweeted about it as well. The Pixel 8 Pro in India doesn't support the Wi-Fi 7 and Wi-Fi 6E standards. Why? Honestly, we don't know the reason why for that, but yeah, generally network connectivity hasn't been great. But you also do get support for NFC, so Google Pay does work really well. Alright, finally, let's talk about the cameras, and I'm not going to go into the details of it because we've done a proper camera comparison of the Pixel 8 Pro versus the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the experience hasn't changed much since then. You should go check that out. But generally, the Pixel 8 Pro takes great photographs. It takes great photographs, especially with the ultra-wide angle camera. We are really in love with it. It's one of the best ultra-wide angle cameras out there. And it does beat the iPhone 15 Pro Max in low light performance, that's for sure. Selfies are sharp, they look detailed, but they're a little contrast heavy, but we still like it a lot. The 5x periscope works well, but is it better than the iPhone 15 Pro Max? I'd say not, but still it works well. HDR sometimes goes overboard, by the way, so you have to keep that in mind. One of the things I must definitely mention is that Google's portrait algorithm has gone down in, quality since the first time they introduced it. They used to be really good at it. Now the semantic segmentation and the portrait blur that you get with Pixel phones are not as impressive as you can get with the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra or an iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is a bit of a concern. Now there are a lot of AI features that are present on the camera app itself. They're not generative AI specifically, but artificial intelligence used to enhance your photography. And what we noticed is that in our time, 1 month that we used, Best Take is one feature that we did use a lot. Best Take is actually a system seller for the Pixel 8 Pro for sure. And apart from that, the audio eraser feature also does come in handy once in a while. However, we didn't use the magic editor too much, despite the fact that you do get sometimes really, really good results. And it's very impressive to see it in action, but we didn't end up using it a whole lot, primarily because, it takes a lot of time to process the images itself. Video recording is one area where Pixel has definitely improved, I would say. I do like the 4K video recording capture from the Pixel 8 Pro. Of course, it's not iPhone level, but it has been improved a lot, and I'm glad about it. So overall, the camera experience is definitely one of the best, if not the best, at least in the top 3 for sure when it comes to the Pixel 8 Pro. So rounding things up, this is our final verdict on the Pixel 8 Pro. We've given it a month to tell what we are telling you right now. So the Pixel 8 Pro definitely has one of the industry best displays on a phone right now for sure. And the software experience is something that we absolutely enjoyed on the Pixel 8 Pro. But one of the reasons why a lot of folks will be gravitating towards this phone is for the great camera experience that you get with it, and the camera does deliver for the most part. Having said that, you have to make compromises on 2 important criteria, and that is the performance and the battery life. All that said, if Pixel fans tell you that this is the best Pixel ever made, this is the best Android flagship ever made, you can probably understand that because Pixel does certain things that many other Android flagships currently don't do. And I think that's going to change in the future with Samsung as well. For example, the Samsung Galaxy S24 is expected to come with on-device AI. Apart from that, Samsung also recently announced GOS, which is their own version of ChatGPT, and that could probably run on the S24 series by default. So that's something to look forward to as well. At the moment, the Pixel 8 Pro probably might be the best generative AI phone because it's probably the only one doing it properly, but that could change in the future. So would I recommend the Pixel 8 Pro? Well, wait. One more thing. I completely forgot about this, and I forgot to mention this, is that the 8256GB variant of the Pixel 8 Pro was silently launched on Flipkart. It's of course more expensive than the 128GB variant. And by the way, we ran out of storage on the 128GB variant while we were using it. So you might have to buy the 256GB variant. In fact, they should have launched the 512GB variant as well. So would I recommend the Pixel 8 Pro to anyone? Unless you're a die-hard Pixel fan, you've used the Pixel phone before, I wouldn't recommend the Pixel 8 Pro because it is a lot of money that you have to pay for what you get with it. I would suggest that you pick up the S23 Ultra instead. It is around the same price category. For most users, I think the S23 Ultra is a better bet right now. In fact, my industry colleague Rohit, his friend, Rohit Arora, his friend, he also has a YouTube channel by the way. His friend sold off the Pixel 8 Pro because he felt that it wasn't good enough for his use case. The battery life wasn't great. There were network connectivity issues. Plus, the resale value isn't great on a Pixel 8 Pro. If you go on any resale platform in India, you'll see that the value of the Pixel 8 Pro has gone down already. So if you buy an iPhone or a Samsung phone, you do get better resale value compared to a Pixel. That is something that you have to take into account as well. So what do you guys think of the 1 month review of Pixel 8 Pro? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know in the comments below. But I will tell you this, it's still a good phone. It's just not a great one that we expected it to be. That's it from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.